Hi, I'm Adam Kron, an attorney with the Environmental Integrity Project. With me is our staff engineer, Ben Kunstman. We'll be discussing the legal background of the settlement that EIP and Clean Air Council reached with Shell to require fenceline monitoring at the petrochemicals complex. This settlement came out of an appeal that we filed in 2015, challenging an air permit that DEP issued to Shell for construction of the complex. Our main claim in the appeal was that Shell did not choose the most stringent emission controls for its flares and for its fugitive emissions, including leaks. Now, because the petrochemicals complex is a major source of volatile organic compounds, like benzene and toluene, and because Beaver County is a non-attainment area for ozone, Shell was required to seek out the most stringent controls from other facilities and regulations, and then either to choose those controls or prove that it couldn't implement them at the facility. In particular, we pointed to other petrochemical facilities with fenceline monitoring, like Shell's Deer Park facility, and to EPA's refinery rule, which requires fenceline monitoring for controlling fugitive emissions. Given that we've incorporated elements of the refinery rule in our settlement, Ben will give some background on how those requirements work.
Thanks, Adam. The refinery rule was finalized in 2015 with final amendments made in 2020. For the fenceline monitoring, it was a work practice standard that was required to improve management of fugitive emissions. This uses isolated benzene concentration from the refineries and assesses them as an annual average. Upon exceedance of an action level, the refinery must conduct a root cause analysis, identifying the reason for exceedances, and corrective action addressing any source of emissions. EPA recently finalized a rule for the ethylene production sector, which Shell Petrochemical is a part of, but notably this rule doesn't require fenceline monitoring, unlike our settlement and the refinery rule. For the Shell settlement, we based the requirements on advancements made by the refinery sector rule. For example, we required flaring requirements such as net heating value of the combustion zone, which incorporates assist air and steam into the calculation. And for fenceline monitoring, we based it off of the refinery rule plus additional requirements. So we included passive monitoring, which are the sorbent tubes required by the refinery rule, as well as continuous monitoring for VOC emission spikes. Next, I'll send it over to Karl at Clean Air Council for some additional detail on the fenceline monitoring.
Hi, my name is Karl Koerner. I'm the engineer for Clean Air Council. I helped draft the settlement negotiations that will form the basis for the fenceline monitoring system at the Shell facility. I'll be giving you a brief overview of how the system is designed, including locations of the monitors, chemicals they will measure, action levels and what they mean, and an overview of the monitoring website. The fenceline monitoring system is actually two systems: a continuous air monitoring system, or CAMS, seen in the image next to me in green, and a passive air monitoring system, or PAMS, seen in light blue. Each system should be capable of detecting benzene, 1,3-butadiene, N-hexane, naphthalene, and toluene. These chemicals were chosen as they are the highest concentration hazardous air pollutants with the most associated risk according to Shell's inhalation risk assessment. The PAMS is a series of passive sorbent tubes that are directly modeled after the refinery rule. Samples from the system are collected every 2 weeks. If after 2 weeks, the lowest and highest concentration tubes at the PAMS system exceeds 2.77 parts per billion of benzene, they will trigger investigations and repair actions at the facility. This means that 2.77 parts per billion is the action level for the PAMS. The CAMS is a combination of 4 total VOC monitors, 1 upwind and 3 downwind, coupled with 3 SUMA canisters that will allow for continuous monitoring of total VOCs and speciation of chemicals when the total VOC concentration goes above a certain threshold meant to represent normal facility operation, which is also the action level. When the total VOC monitor goes above an action level concentration, a solenoid will activate the SUMA canister, starting a collection of a sample. The action level thresholds will start at 56 parts per billion TVOC, 63 parts per billion TVOC, and 48 parts per billion TVOC at each respective CAMS, and can be adjusted upward and downward by 10% to prevent excessive false positives or non-detects. This adjustment upward only happens if a field investigation does not yield a source of excessive emissions. A downward adjustment happens if no investigations take place within certain timeframes. The monitoring data website will be an important tool to watch emissions at the facility and interact with the data produced by each monitoring system. The website will be easy to access on Shell's PA Chemical Complex website. The The website will include basic information about the system and all CAMs and PAMs action levels, as well as changes to action levels and the reason for these changes. Data will be available 30 days after the start of the program. Data will be in tabular format, and some important data displayed on the website includes all PAMs sorbent tubes concentration data from all locations, all PAMs action level exceedances, total NM/NE/VOC concentration for each PID, wind speed and wind direction data, summa canister concentration data for each chemical of concern, field investigation statements and the root cause of excess emissions, and Shell's actions taken as a result of the field investigations. I hope this helps you understand the Fenceline system a little bit better, and if you have questions, I'll happily answer them. Thank you.